now. Things are gonna get better.
Hey.
Hey. Okay, you guys. So this is Iris Berry. Some people probably would almost think we are probably sisters.
Yes.
So Iris, I'm gonna have Iris come in today because I wanted her to talk to you guys about meal prepping. So I like to call her the chef of all chefs, to be right. She posts some of the most amazing food. I don't know if you guys follow Iris, if you're friends with her on Instagram, if you're friends with her on Facebook. She also has a group. So you guys, if you're not, at the end she'll tell you how you can follow her. But this woman, I mean, amazing. And I will tell you one thing. She cooks, the way she cooks her food, first of all, it has to look pretty. Not only does it have to taste good, but it has to look pretty. So my food does not look like either sometimes, and I just eat because I need to be eating right. So Iris does not eat just to be eaten. It has to be pretty and it has to taste good. So Iris, would you you can introduce yourself. You can tell them a little bit about Iris Berry Living, and then tell us the importance of meal prepping.
Okay. My name is Iris Berry, like Z said, and I am not a chef, but I enjoy cooking. It's part of a healthy relationship with food is getting into your relationship with it intimately. So meal prepping is often a tool that's used when people are changing their dietary lifestyles. Most often when they're trying to find a dietary regime to improve their health, to lose weight, to save money. That is what meal planning is. You'll hear meal planning, meal prep, but what you don't hear about is what it takes to get there. So we'll get into that before we get into all the details. So we on to keep going?
Keep going.
All right, then. So the first thing to do when you begin to consider meal prepping is it is good to know what your purpose is. This way, when you know your purpose, you set yourself up for success. So are you trying to improve the health of your family through food, go a meatless Monday, save money, save time? The first thing you need to do is do a kitchen assessment. What's in the kitchen? What are you working for? What's good? What's bad? What do you need to get rid of? Also, what kitchen essentials do you have? Do you have a blender? Do you have a food processor? What kind of pots and pans do you have? Do you have the right stuff to store after you prep? Do you have the right stuff to store? But also before then, do you have good sheets if you're going to do a whole pan of chicken breasts and stuff like that? So the kitchen assessment is important. So that's step one. Step two, what do you want to eat? So some people say spend some time going through recipes. I say what works for you, what's a meal you know you can eat all the time. Start with those meals, build on those meals, create themes for the week. So you've identified a few meals you already like. What are you filling in? Are you doing meals for breakfast, lunch, and dinner and 2 snacks? Are you just doing dinner and lunch because it's easier? What and who are you meal prepping for? So if it's a solo, a lot easier. If it's for the household, are there any things to consider in terms of allergies and any other dietary restrictions? So that's something when you're meal prepping for more than one. So you got that down. It's time to make the list. You make your own grocery list based on your menu. So again, I said overlap. So I forgot this, let me step back. Decide how many days of the week you're going to prep. For some strange reason, people like to get in and go ham. Then they're overwhelmed, they quit very quickly, or they make it and they don't eat it because they're like, I don't want to eat that again. So decide how many days. So outside of how many meals, how many days are you going to prep? 2 to 3 days, all 5 days, all 7 days. Are you prepping for convenience? So maybe you're prepping on a day, maybe the kids have workouts after school or whatever have you, 2 days a week, and those are the 2 days dinner has to be done. Dinner and that after school snack has to be done. So maybe you're prepping for those days, but you decide. I can give you an example of how I prep. I prep according to my busiest week, and I usually prep for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Everything else is gravy. Although Monday is often a light day, but Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday are my days I can go 8 hours without stopping, and I need to have my lunch bag packed. So that's how you determine what's going to create the most convenience for you. Affordability is really, really important. So after you've decided on the days, decide on the meals. Now we can talk about what's next. It's the grocery shopping. Once you make your list of the meals you're going to have, make your list of groceries. Save money. Check the cabbage, check the refrigerator, see what you have in stock. I can't say that enough because people usually overbuy or waste. Even if it's something you don't love, use it until you exhaust it. Get rid of it. Don't waste your money. You don't have to throw everything out. You might just have to clean up how you use it. So that's the first thing before you go grocery shopping. Then plan out what day of the week, almost every day of the week, you're going grocery shopping. Don't waver on this day. The reason why I'm saying this is that you get to moving it around and start toying it with it, then the likelihood that you're going to do it gets really, really low because it won't be a commitment anymore. Because you're saying, it's kind of like, you have to be to work every day by 7 a.m. So you plan to be there every day at 7 a.m. because that's how you get paid. Well, if you're going to stay on track with improving your health, you have to commit to the habits that you put in place in order to get there. So pick a day to grocery shop, buy everything that you need on that one day, and then get home. That's when the prep starts. So is grocery shopping and prep going to be the same day? Prep is, so there's a pre-prep.
Yep.
You gotta chop, dice. So there's a pre-prep. Everybody has this romantic ideal that you get the groceries and it comes together like that, but there's a pre-prep. Because if you're actually meal planning and you're doing it for your health purposes, that means you're eating pretty clean. It's not a lot of store-bought processed foods. You're eating a lot of fresh foods that you do have to use quickly. So the prep before the meal prep, chopping vegetables, boiling, cooking rice, cooking your beans, cooking whatever your staples are going to be. So if you're doing a salad in a jar for a week, then everything you need for that salad is chopped out. If you are going to be doing, if you're going to be doing sauces, so say you say the week is Mexican, make the salsa on that same day. Make the guac that day. Make the things that are just going to complement the meal that day. And then build from there. So that's the prep before the prep. When you begin to meal prep and you've decided on a day, you have to figure out what makes sense and what works for you. Some of it is common sense, but everybody's not a cooker. Everybody's not used to being in the kitchen. So after you do that, you start with the stuff that takes the longest to cook or is the most complicated to cook. Get those things on. And I'm gonna step back. For every meal that you're going to cook, set up the ingredients on the counter or the kitchen table, wherever you have space. Set the ingredients out for each meal. So that's if it's barbecue chicken, the barbecue sauce, the onions, whatever, and the pan that you're going to cook it in, or know which pans you're going to use so that you know how to rotate, because the kitchen should be continually rotate. When you're making one meal, something else should be happening. So you should be done within 2 hours, depending on your skill set, if you're meal prepping for a 5-day week and you're doing multiple meals. And that doesn't necessarily include breakfast, but it can include breakfast. The 2 hours generally is a lunch and a dinner type of a thing. But you can get everything done in 2 hours. It depends on how efficient you are and when you do it. But that also takes practice. So that said, you start with the stuff that takes longest to cook, and then you build on down. Generally, if you're doing salads, after you've done the prep, the salads are easy. While you're waiting on the chicken to cook or the beans to cook, you throwing that salad together. You put it together, one meal done. Label everything, the date that you plan to eat it. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Okay. Also remember, sometimes you're not cooking a different meal for each meal. Most people interchange their meals. If you've been doing it as long as I have, I eat dinner for breakfast, breakfast for lunch. It depends on what mood I'm in, what's left I grab, because I might have liked breakfast and like, oh, I'm gonna have that again for lunch, depending upon how my day is set up. So remember, you might just be cooking dinner and decide that you liked it enough, it's going to be lunch. and vice versa. So remember that. Okay, I got all this stuff and I'm reading my notes. Are you still with me is the question, because I'm just rattling. I apologize.
We're still here.
The containers, when I said be prepared, get your containers in 2 different sizes. Get them without the compartments and get them with at least 2 or 3 compartments. I suggest 3 compartments if you're new to this, because those compartments usually fall in the size of a cup, from a cup to a half cup to 3/4 cup. So that's why I'm saying that. And then half your veggies of all your meal prep, and we'll get into that again another time. But get your containers like that until you can eyeball stuff. The things you need to meal prep if you're on a really strict diet. So if you're doing like the diet of Hope and some of these other diets, to improve your blood sugars, you need a scale, measuring cups, measuring spoons. Can't think of everything else. So all that stuff you will need doing the actual setting up the meals. So that's different from the cooking the meals, but when you actually set up the meal in the container that you're going to serve it, that's what you're going to need. If you're really truly doing a meal prep, you are measuring and weighing everything, period. Animal sources of protein are generally suggested 3 to 5 ounces, depending upon your lifestyle. Your carbs, which include vegetables, fruit, your starchy vegetables. Your starches are grains. When you think of starchy vegetables, carrot, corn, peas, squash, those things, potatoes. You want to find out what those serving size are, and you want to use the serving size. So for instance, a cooked potato is 1 cup, no matter how you cook it. So learn your serving sizes and learn the details of the dietary lifestyle you've chosen. So that's really, really important, because oftentimes we see people meal prepping and we cook the food and then we just start dumping it in the thing and we're wondering why we're not getting success. Well, you're not eating the portion sizes. So know for your containers, if they're not the portion in which you're supposed to, rice lover, who isn't, not just a rice lover, a white rice lover. So for you rice lovers, is a half a cup cooked. Okay, back on track. I have a hard time with that too. So keep that in mind when you're doing the portioning out of the actual meals. The next step is that you have to have something to carry it in. Get something that can keep your food either warm or cold, depending upon what the season is. I live in the Southwest. We're already having 90-degree weather. So I actually carry not just a cooling bag some days, depending upon how long my day is. I actually have a cooler. So with ice in it, like this has to stay in there, especially because it's summertime. I eat a lot of fruit, so I know how I roll. I do a lot of fruit. I do a lot of juicing. So those things do actually need to stay cold. So find out what your resources are. The other thing with meal prepping is to know your eating schedule. So most people don't think about this when they're meal prepping. They're just thinking about eating. If you are eating to change your dietary lifestyle to improve your health, whether it's your blood sugars, your blood pressure, your weight, eating at regular intervals is important. Understanding what those regular intervals are for you depends on your goal, and that's an individual thing. But what I will say in general, it's recommended not to let yourself starve. So every 2 to 3 hours, you should be eating something. Okay? So if breakfast is at 6 a.m., then about 8:30, no later than 9 is a snack or another meal. But your snacks should be set up that they're well-balanced meal, that you always, I'm going to use the word, and then I'm going to explain it. Macronutrients, your fat, your carb, your protein, every meal. Okay? So stack each meal for success. Why are you doing that when you're thinking about that when you're meal prepping? Because that's how your vital nutrients and minerals get absorbed into the body, because they have to be combined in such a way that the body can absorb it. So when you see fat soluble, or you see a vitamin that recommends you take it with a meal, it's because they're encouraged, or with milk, they're encouraging you to do that, because that's how the vitamin is absorbed into the body. So from that, I think I covered everything. Meal prep. We usually don't think about hydrating. If you are meal prepping, water, 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 water. If you're infusing water, I'm fine with that, but none of that Crystal Light stuff, none of that flavoring stuff. If it's sweet, it has a sugar in it. Rather it's artificial or not, the body recognizes that. The same might not send up your blood sugars if it's stevia, but you also don't know what else it's doing to your body because it's new, it's out. The research is not out long enough for you to determine that. So water. So what do we suggest for water? I never tell anybody a gallon a day, but I strongly suggest, based on, you know, other sources that I use, that you drink at least half your body weight in ounces per day, minimum, and sip all day long. We're not chugging to the head. Hydration is about staying hydrated throughout the course of the day. Starting your day with water before the coffee, before the tea. Water, 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 water. So it's wake, hydrate. Those two things right there. So get yourself a good water bottle. Z, aren't you selling a water bottle now? Aren't you selling a water bottle
I
now?
am. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but you're frozen. We can hear you fine, but you're frozen.
Yeah, so on my side you're frozen, but I can see you on my computer. So yeah.
Okay, good.
Technology. So yes, I am selling a water bottle where you can have things that stay cold for 24 hours and hot for 8 hours.
Okay. And that's what you need to get. Oh, we so delayed. I'm looking at the one in the group. I'm sorry. So get you one of those. Get you a water bottle like that. I am a glass girl, so I don't do anything. My water is always room temperature. I say bottles like this, or my favorite bottles. Hold on, I should have got it before I came. My favorite bottles are these. I'm a glass girl for real. I got a couple of these laying around. So these are my favorite. So have your water ready, know what is there. If you're going to be meal prepping, which means that you're going to be adding more fiber in the form of fruits and or vegetables to your diet or grains, the more fiber you add, the more water you must drink to avoid constipation. You want to keep everything moving smoothly. We got a question. I can't hear you, Z. I'm talking, so I don't know if you're there. We might need to stop and start over, but
I'm here.
Okay, Jean, oils. What's my opinion on oils? My opinion on oil is that you have to listen to your body, and it has to be aligned with your dietary lifestyle. So for me, the type of oils I use add the essential fats that I need, my omega-3s, 6s. I use coconut oil for the healthy saturated fat. So I believe that you have to figure out what's best for your body. Everybody is not the same. So I would steer clear of using oils, olive oil cooked at high points, because after that point it's toxic to the body. Fine oils like avocado oil and coconut oil, which are the two I believe have the highest burn points, but I suggest using those interchangeably just because they both have different nutritional makeups. So oils, I say it depends on what you've been taught about and what your body needs, but the body needs fat. And because I tend to be plant-based most of the time, my plate could be literally all vegetables. I use oils as my substitute for fat. Every now and then I'll use ghee, but it's generally oil that I use, coconut, olive oil, and avocado oil. Z, I can't believe we're not looking at each other. I'm done. I'm done unless there's other questions.
Okay, any other questions? Oh. Okay, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I can hear you fine. I just can't see you. You're frozen on my side.
Yeah, I don't know quite what happened. So let me just say a few things about what Iris said, because I learned something important today, and this is something I do not do. I never take pans out. Of course, I usually cook in the crock pot. That's the easiest thing for me to do. And I put the food in and I go. But it is important to make sure you have all the utensils and the tools you need to cook, right? I've never thought about that, like what pots I'm going to use, what pans I'm going to use. Having all those things out, and including the measuring cups and the spoons. And also, I always do this. I never check what's in my refrigerator and freezer before I go shopping. Because then I'm in the grocery store like, I think I got some beans, or I think I got black beans. So I really don't know. Let me buy some more. And then I come back and I would have already had a bag of beans, right? None of them wasted a few cents or a dollar or something that could have been applied to something else. So, Iris, thank you so much, because I'm telling you, I have definitely learned a lot about what I need to do. And then just basically, usually, I don't use all the food in my freezer, so I need to start doing that. But everything you said was very good. Like I said, I learned a lot. So hopefully everybody that gets a chance and they watch the video, that they also have learned a lot and also incorporate what you said. Like, I have a cooler and I was going to show it, but since I'm frozen, I will not. I might take a picture.
Well,
I have a big cooler, like
you should,
really big.
should take a picture, but I would always. I also want to chime in on the crock pot again, because I didn't mention it, because it is warm season for me, so I haven't used crock pots, Instapots, whatever you're using, the grill. Consider all those things, because you can even start your prep earlier. The beans can go in the night before you do it and already be done and not be a part of your meal prep at all, because you've got them done, or you at least soak them. So definitely the crock pot, your Instapot, your grill, hibachi, George Foreman. Think of all those things in terms of getting ready for your prep.
Well, thank you so much. So, Iris, so tell people where they can find you at in case they want to, because I'm telling you guys, Iris, she made this nacho thing that was either vegan or vegetarian. I was like, see, I'm going to have to fly all the way where she lives at to eat. So now I'm not going to tell y'all she came here and she was kind of on vacation, so there was no cooking for her. But apparently I need to fly to where she is so I can eat some of the meals. But you have to be careful, because Iris will be in the kitchen with a shirt on, right, and some panties. Cooking.
You at home. Ain't nobody dressed at home. I'm only dressed because
right. Yeah. But Iris, I love Iris. She does an amazing job. So thank you, Iris. So tell people where they can find you at.
You can find me on my Facebook page, Berry Well Living. That's BERRY, capital WELL, Living, LIVING. Same thing on Instagram. My IG account is at Berry Well Living. I post my foods. I have called Lab Time, because Lab Time, is when you get to experiment with food, grow your relationship with your food. One of the reasons why I use the term relationship with food is because we grew our food, we slaughter our food, we prepared all our own meals, the hunting gatherers, the store for the cold seasons. So that's a relationship we've gotten away from, and our health is showing it. So it's time to get back to a relationship with food.
Well, thank you again.
I
appreciate you so much for coming in and talking to us about meal prepping. So everybody, find her on social media. Thank you again. Now she's going to probably go and relax for the rest of her day or evening. So everybody have a great,
I
look a little
beat up.
I know I'm frozen. So, okay, everyone. Thanks again for watching.